But let's begin right here in New York City and what the Mets' biggest priority should be this week. Nelson, I'll begin with you on this.
I think they got their man that they wanted. El Presidente for 4 more years. You have Cespedes now. You know that's locked up. And that's the biggest free agent on the market. Now you have some pieces that you can kind of get rid of or kick the tires on with other teams and see what you can get back. You have somebody like Granderson. You got somebody like Bruce. You're dangling them around right now, walking around the room, just trying to see what is everybody willing to give up for these guys. I think the Mets are sitting in the driver's seat. That's one of the pieces. Also, relief help. They're going to look for relief help, whether it be a left-handed guy in the bullpen in return. But right now, it's kind of you're just playing the room because you have a lot of cards on the table.
Yeah, I think you made a perfect point. A week ago, the Mets didn't have the opportunity to say that they could look at Bruce and Grandy because they had to figure out if they were going to get Cespedes. With Cespedes signed, now I think Jay Bruce becomes the priority to trade. I think Grandy is better fit here in New York. I think Bruce obviously has a lot of reputation, at least in the recent times with the Mets, as being not able to play in New York. Right. He's had his struggles here in New York. And I think that's a little bit of an unfair, I think it's an unfair assessment of his abilities. I think he still has a lot to offer. I think teams out there are going to see through the fact that, New York can have its times, but there was a guy named Piazza that when he signed here in New York, he struggled really, really hard for a while, and now he's got his hat on in the Hall of Fame with the Mets emblem on it. So I think Jay Bruce is the guy to go. I think the guy has potential to bring somebody. The question is, are they going to bring somebody that they can use right now or somebody that they can use in the future?
Well, I think that's a huge question. And listen, the Mets are in win-now mode. So you would think they'd be going after a guy who could help them specifically. A lot of talk, and you mentioned it, relief help. So in your mind, who do the Mets want to get back for either, if it's Jay Bruce or potentially Curtis Granderson? I mean, you talk about the 2 guys that they have left in the bullpen right now in the Met contract. You have Smoker and you have Edgin. And those are nice options to have. They're not Jerry Blevins by any means, because Jerry Blevins was a guy you can count on to get lefties and righties. You were looking at kind of matchup things. You want to kind of improve in that area and have those guys as a fallback. That's great. But New York's not an easy place to play in. So when you're going out there and a guy like Bruce, you're dangling that around, this guy is 30 home runs, 80 to 100 RBIs in the right situation. So that carries a lot of weight. Let's see what they can get back. Now, if it's a left-handed relief or end of the bullpen kind of guy, that's what they're looking for. And I think they're in win-now mode. So you're looking for somebody that can help you right now. Todd, do you believe there is a sizable piece that can be gotten back specifically for Jay Bruce, piece or pieces?
I think it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, honestly. I think that, as you said perfectly, I think they need that bullpen help. If they can't get somebody that can really solidify that position, I don't think it's worthwhile for the Mets to go for a fix-it spot right now. Even though it's win now, I think they've got the pieces together, and I think they can concentrate on some young talent to continue this trend. And I think Conforto's got to play every day in right field and really solidify himself as the other piece in that outfield.